First of all, thank you for this great film and thanks for sharing it with us. And first one I want to ask you is it's definitely a challenge to make a film with a non-Nigerian, and also like the you try to punctuate the film with his poem, the Tale to Begin With, and that poem itself tells us that it's a very self-deprecating, self-effacing character. So, how did you convince him to be part of this film, and how did it come about? Could you talk about the genesis of this film?
Okay, firstly, thank you for all those who stayed back to watch this film. So, as he was talking about injustice, so this is my solidarity for lots of injustice that is happening in the world right now, which you know in Palestine or Gaza. And uh, how to convince him? So, he was a bit of a JD Salinger kind of guy, very elusive, private. So, I have been chasing him from 2017 when I was, though I am from Cuttack, I'm born in Cuttack, and my father was working for the mines, and I grew up in Bengal, and then for 20 years I was in, 19, 20 years I was in Bangalore. I used to work in advertising and creative. So he had come for the Bangalore Poetry Festival. So that's when I met him, and subsequently I met him in his house in 2017 to interview him for an online magazine from Delhi, Sunflower Collective. So which I came to his house unannounced, and he came, and then he flatly refused, and he said, "I'm off to Delhi tomorrow. Bye bye." Uh, so that was 2017. So it didn't materialize. Then COVID happened, and a lot of shifts happened in COVID. So he was also he was down with COVID. He almost died. Like he was taken from his home and he was in the hospital. I was down with COVID. Then I came back from Bangalore. I came home. I was working for an agency which gave me work from anywhere kind of thing. So I thought, okay, I will approach him again. So I went to with another friend who was also shot bits of the film, footage, and he was not on the call. He said again no, but when we went there, I don't know. Somehow I kind of, I won't say blackmailed him. I said, see, I am from Cuttack. Won't you let me shoot this film? You are from Cuttack. This is the whole Katki thing. Like I pulled that on, and he said okay, but I had refused to Doordarshan and Sahitya Academy to shoot any film on me. Make sure you don't make a boring film. So I hope wherever he is now, he
You
thinks,
succeed in that, yeah.
yeah. So it's a that you would have seen that is not a very linear film. So and then I started filming him sometime around 2022, end of 2022, and like a year, maybe 9 months or 8 months, his time is what I got, and then he passed away. Like which I show in the film. So I went and got some back footage of Jaipur Literature Festival. That I was also in Jaipur Literature Festival in 2017 when he got the award, and I had some footage. So I found out that I can use this long poem, self-critical poem of his, and then lace the film together with the footage. So it was a very difficult process. It took me around almost a year and a half to edit it, and that's how it happened.
And, could you talk about that's one. Could you talk about the form of the film? Like how did the of course the punctuating it with the poem, and also having the people that you want to talk to about him. So how did that everything come about?
Everything was very unplanned. It was just the camera, and we let him talk, because and he gelled with like Nabina, my friend you saw initially in the. So for me, to him, I was just a boy from Cuttack, who is shooting the film. He didn't take me seriously. So I deployed Navina a little bit. I said, engage him in some way, and we'll go around Cuttack, and then even the holy thing that you saw, we arranged it, but we had no idea what is going to happen. It is only when I sat with the footage later, I thought I can string it like that.
Just can open the Q&A to the audience if anyone has any questions.
And so first of all, how did you मतलब आप वहाँ पे कैमरा रख के कैसे काम कर रहे थे? वो मतलब पूरा नेचुरल था उनके साथ काम करना वगैरह।
Camera, except that the where he is not well. So that happened to be my birthday, which was 29th of July. So I had I had told him that I'm going to celebrate my birthday with you. In between, I had gone to Bangalore. So I got a bottle of wine, and he by that time he was not well. So then he said that, so what if I am dying? It's your birthday. I will die. I'm an old person. Your birthday should be celebrated here. Bring the cake. So that is the only part where I didn't use a lapel mic on him. But the otherwise, where I was shooting in Qatar, he was very much aware. Even in the car thing, we had put a lapel mic, but the camera was not very intrusive on the face. We were using lenses, where fixed lenses, where we could be a little away from him. And because of my see, it's not that I met him. I used to meet him only when I was filming him. I became like his buddy. Whenever there was a he was not doing anything, he'll tell, bring the car, we'll go have pakoda. So I've been several times. I've gone like that. Gone around Cuttack with him. Yeah, some instances we shot. So that's how I got quite a substantial amount of footage. So it came to the 82-minute runtime, which I feel is a little longer. But then I didn't know where to cut it. You know,
It
and
was very wonderful. That entire movie
yeah,
was. And another question is that what the place where he sat below the tree, the
right.
branch that he was
Yeah.
holding, what was the place name? I am from Cuttack, so I
Okay,
want to
so
know.
do you have a girlfriend? So people of Cuttack who have girlfriend or lovers or whatever partners, they go to Naraj on their bikes,
Huh, I know that.
and that's the place because either Naraj or Balijatra Padya.
Baljatra Padi.
Balijatra Padya you can be spotted, so it's a little bit of a risk. Naraj you can run off. So on the way to Naraj, the Chahta Ghat, the road from Chahta Ghat that goes to Naraj.
Yes.
So there is a small little boat club, and there's a
Yes, sir.
cafe.
Silver City
Just
Boat.
before that is this place. Now, if you go there, the boundary wall has come up, so you won't recognize it. So this happened to be. I mean, for him, as age caught up with him, he couldn't travel a lot. So he started doing these small stints around with friends, mostly to Naraj, around the city, like that. He was a restless person. Yeah, I mean, at 94, he's walking around. You can see that it's not
Yes.
easy, and he was down with COVID. He was ill before that also many times. So it came up like that.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good evening. It was
Hi.
actually a very emotional experience, the entire movie, and I actually got to know about Jayanta sir for the first time, and still I was so attached to him because he showed his personality through
Right.
his poems and his gestures. I just wanted to ask, the people who talked about him talked very fondly of him, and it was genuine. It was very genuinely they were talking about him, but at the same time, when he asked him how did you celebrate your Holi, he said that nobody came with sweets or anything, and he also talked about how letters come but people don't come. So did you because you were closer to him,
Right.
did you understand anything about this complexity, how he craved love when people already loved him? What was the
So,
gap?
see, the first thing that you said that you didn't know about him till you saw it. So that's why is another reason which I didn't say that why I made this film. When I was in Bangalore, a very young friend had come over, like a 20-year-old boy. And I said, I'm from Cuttack. So he said, is Cuttack near Lucknow? So I said, then I have to do something about it. I mean, he might be weak on his geography. And I thought, what can be about Cuttack? And that's how I figured. I mean, that's one of the reasons. And um, about this next question the question that you
Yeah,
said is about,
it was about how people that you interviewed, they talked very fondly about him,
right,
they
right,
loved him,
yeah.
but at the same time when one of the person he asked you how did you celebrate your Holi, he said he celebrated it alone. So
So, see, there are contradictions in any creative person. I wouldn't say he was completely lonely. People used to come and visit him. But because he was so old and there was nobody around him, his wife had passed away several years back, his son, who was in Singapore, was dead. At 90 or when you're over 70, you expect somebody around you. So, though people used to come and visit him for days, he will be also a creative person likes the loneliness and he dislikes it also at the same time. Like solitude is good, but loneliness is bad sometimes. So I think he was also in between both of that. Like um, uh, it was like when he was not well, people used to come or they used to drop in, and not like all the time. But then what I found that he was also a little bit sometimes didn't want people also. He's writing or something. So there was like a distance built up sometime also, like um, my friend Chandramanu sir is sitting here, so he might also, he has come for Chandrabhaga festival and, they have invited him. So I'll give you a small instance. So I don't think Chandrabhanu, you were not there, Ashwini Kumar was there. So I had taken him out for pakoras, okay, one of those trips. And they had come to invite him for the festival. Like the next day they were supposed to go. So when I drove into to his house, he knew that there were people expecting. He was expecting people. And then he saw three, four, they were already there. And he said, come, come, let's run away from here. Back up the car. I said, hello, they have come to meet you. Now you cannot just go away. You have to get in. So I think these contradictions were there. Like he lived in a really big house. And in that kind of house, you can feel a little lonely. So after some time, I kind of figured out his moods, like that. Sometimes I knew that he was quite active on WhatsApp and all. So on WhatsApp, I could figure out what does he want actually. Is it a pakoda day or he just wants to chat up? Or I can go to his house and I can talk anything. Like he became like a friend.
Hello, sir. Pardon me for my voice, actually.
You know.
Yeah. So my question was like, you said that like he had originally like discarded other offers that was like made to him for
Right.
the
Right.
like film or the documentary on him. So and he said that don't make a boring film. So that was an added pressure, right? And then you told that you found later that Jaipur Film Festival, that poetry, that self,
Right. Right.
yeah, that poetry, and you kind of sued the film with that particular
Right.
poetry. So from a filmmaker's perspective, how do you reach a conclusion that will do justice to the film? And now that he has said that don't make a boring film, so what is that battle inside you so that you constantly think, for example, after you arrive to a decision that okay, I'm going to use this Jaipur Film Festival clip, but even after that, did you have the questions in mind that am I doing justice or is something better that I can do to this? So how do you reach to that
See,
particular
this was a
conclusion?
very difficult, pro- as such, I'm an advertising guy, so I make 2-3 minutes ads. All my lives I've done that. This was a long format film. I would have done the film differently if he had lived. Because he died, the whole thing changed. The film came on the editable after his passing away. I was personally very affected. I was the scene that you see in the window. It's not that point he's dying. He was in the hospital for 22 days, and because I was his friend, I was very close to him, so I had to become a caregiver. So he was in and out of the ICU, and when he died, I didn't want to make this film. I was like, what's the point, like that? I promised him, but then I thought he probably this is what he wanted, that not to make a boring film like she said. She wouldn't have known about him if she would have not seen it. So then I strung the things around how I can tell the story when he's not there through his long poem. And that's when the Jaipur literature thing clicked into my mind. Luckily, it was recorded in his voice, so I placed it and then gave it that. Uh, with some interviews, the interviews I could have avoided, but I thought that explains a lot of thing about because he's not there, so that he's the first person who got. I didn't want to have voiceover at all in the film. I was quite sure about it. So most of the thing fell in place in the edit table, and it was because of his passing the film has become different. If he was still around, I don't know, it could have been a different film, but not a linear film for sure.
Hi. I wanted to know what was the motivation for choosing Bengali songs, Rabindra Sangit, in this movie instead of Odia?
Well, all the friends of mine who came to visit him are from Calcutta, and since it was not planned in any way, whatever they sang, I recorded it. It was spontaneous. I mean, surely if there was Odia songs also, I could have added that also. But in the footage, there are lots of areas where he has spoken Odia poetry and all, but somehow I couldn't fit it in. It would have been a very long film then. As such, this is 82 minutes. So please forgive me. I mean, I do. It's nothing like decided that it should be.
Thank you for that really beautiful film.
Thank
So you spoke about making ads of 2-3 minutes,
you.
and then and you took a year with the footage
Right.
to edit it. And I think the every edit has a tempo, right? And we
Right.
create
Right. Right.
time through the act
Yeah.
of editing. So and this really matches his personality so well. So if you could speak a little bit about how you were thinking of either time or the rhythm and the tempo of the narrative
See,
at the same time you're making a film on an
I
artist?
I am a first-time filmmaker in the long format. Ads I have done, and all the other people, the editor, the sound engineer, everyone. I'm the oldest amongst them. I'm in my late 40s and they're in their 20s. So for some reason, it just so happened that I was with a team which was as inexperienced as me on the long format. So things were difficult and it was also easy because they were not rigid to experimenting, like that. Especially my editor Nabin, and I sat with him for hours all through the night. He works for a production company in Calcutta, so he has a day job, and I used to travel from here. He lives in Bagajatin. I used to stay in dormitories in around College Square to keep the cost low because the funding was very less. And it's like sitting with him for hours and hours together throughout the night. That's how the film happened. I mean, we figured out, we sequenced it, like, I'll give you a technically how it was, probably you can understand that. We made a holy sequence, we made a pakoda sequence, we made a Baripada sequence, we made a, Chandrabhaga festival sequence. Then with the poetry, we tried to like, string it together and then, cut it, further cut it, and, um, from it was initially 94 minutes, then I showed it in Guwahati and some people said it's a little longer, so I cut it more tighter and then I couldn't cut it below 82 anymore. And yeah, the songs and the holy sequence, the songs and the other things make the film a little bit more watchable, though it's long, because songs always help. And sometimes documentaries are very realistic, you don't have anything there. But these were like, because he was so old, like the holy thing. It really, he was so happy in that thing. So that's why he says that, he probably had never had a holy like this. So he's saying that nobody comes. It's not that nobody ever comes, but that kind of thing, he's always on the dais. He's always a great poet. He, as far as I knew, not every time he wanted to be a poet, not every time he wanted to be a singer. He was also a normal human being. He wanted to do normal things. I think he liked that part of it also. Everyone saw him as a poet, but then he was also a citizen of Cuttack. He was also somebody who hangs around, likes to hang around and all. So that is how I think I thought that I should keep this footage without adding any other old photographs of his earlier days, where he studied, where he was born, or any of that sort of thing.
I also want to ask one more thing. Uh, in the Baripada sequence, he told that he started photographing, but he couldn't make it. He
Right.
started teaching physics lecture, but he couldn't make it. So why means I want to know some parts of that part of a life. Means you are a
So he
friend.
was a reader of physics in Revensa College. Till his 40s, he was, and he retired from Revensa College as a physics professor. Photography, because I somehow felt that, like, I always say that he's like Orhan Pamuk, like Orhan Pamuk never left Istanbul and he also never left Qatar. Now, is that because of prospects or because of reality that he was married and you said, settled down, and suddenly in your 40s, if you realize you want to do something creative, throwing up your job is not possible always. So he was experimenting, I think, keeping his job, photography, because photography is also like poetry, it's like visual poetry, I feel. So, and photography, he did try. He has clicked some really nice pictures that he's used in his covers of Chandrabhaga. I remember one of his son that he had taken. But I think finally poetry is something he started. He didn't realize that it will take him somewhere. And then initially he got some good breaks. Then he went to Iowa for the thing. And then uh, the poetry, English poetry that time was concentrated to bigger cities, Bombay, Delhi, and all. He somehow found a way to put Cuttack on the map. In its usual boring, nothing much happens in Cuttack, as somebody was saying. But sometimes when nothing happens, that is very poetic. Happening places are too much. Sometimes. So I think he figured that out, to how to put Cuttack in words, and not just about Cuttack. He has written a lot of poems about, like he has written a poetry about the '94 riots. He has a 12-page poetry on the Bhopal gas tragedy. So his collected works is around 600 pages plus, that many poetries, and even till the end he was writing. and he used to write in longhand. He had no computer, nothing. So I think that's how it, like, he became a multifaceted person, like a physics professor who also tried photography and then poetry.
Hello, sir.